What up, dude, bro? Spider Avenger Mailer. My apologies again for being a little late. And again, I am pretty late on this blaster, but today we are looking at the Dart Zone Thunderbolt, a pretty comparable blaster to the Adventure Force Spectrum, which is to say a magazine-fed semi-automatic blaster with really great performance. So let's get into it. Included with the Dart Zone Thunderbolt is the blaster itself, 2 iron sights, 15 waffle head darts, the instruction manual, dart pamphlet, and the magazine. External overview of the blaster, starting up at the front. Of course, there's no in-strike barrel lug. This is, of course, a Dart Zone blaster. They can't legally do that, even though Chinese companies can. Really weird on that part. Up top, we do have 2 tactical rails, which affix to, I have the included sights. These sights are just like regular Picatinny sights, so you could slap these onto any single sight picture that has a Picatinny rail. But it's also really cool because the sight system in this is actually very smooth. It's very well oriented in the way that the stock is. You can look through the irons and take very accurate shots. I love that feature a lot. Over on this side, we do have a jam door. To open that up, you just flick that back, and that allows you to get your fingers in there to clear any jams and malfunctions. I have not had any jams and malfunctions with this blaster, but also to note, the blaster will not rev up while that is open, so you'll always want to keep that shut if you're going to power it on. And on this side, we do have the battery door. To take out the batteries, you just unscrew this and open it up. It takes 6 AA batteries, which gets you a lot of good power. Now down to the magazine release. To remove the magazine release, you just flick it like this, and then it drops the mag. The included magazine is a 15-round blue translucent mag, and the cool thing about this blaster, it is compatible with other mags. So, Busby mag from the recent Easy Fire review. Sorry, couldn't think of it right there. An X-Shot mag works just fine, and I personally think the X-Shot mag looks really good in there. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Dart Zone blaster if it wasn't compatible with Nerf mags. But the cool thing about it is it works really well with 18-round stick mags, but also the magazine release doesn't really get in the way of smooth reloads. It still bumps into it, but it smoothly drops in compared to the Spectrum, which still had some issues with dropping an 18-round stick mag. So that is to be appreciated, and thank you, Dart Zone. And the magwell is a lot better designed than the Spectrum. It's subtly flared, or at least to me it feels, but it's a much more smoother drop and a smoother insert, so you can even do it when you're not even looking at the blaster, because it's a lot more easier. I'm just not there yet. Down to the trigger. The trigger pull is very nice, and this is a mechanically operated semi-automatic system. It feels very similar to the Strife and the Spectrum, but I must say the trigger pull on this is really smooth. Like, I'm very shocked at how smooth this trigger pull is. It feels even smoother than the Spectrum, and I never thought I'd say that because the Spectrum has one of the best triggers. But it's a very smooth semi-automatic release. Like, the darts fly very smoothly into the flywheels. And now down to the grip. The grip overall is very comfy. I was actually surprised. It's pretty comparable to the Spectrum again. Like, this is a target version of the Spectrum, but the grip is not bad at all. And of course, the rev trigger is a 2-finger design. People don't like this, some people do like it. It just depends. I think this better fits a smaller hand who, like, your middle finger can't really ride up on the rev trigger, so they make it 2. But for adults, it could just be a preference to, like, how much grip you want to get on the blaster. And now back to the stock. Now, this is a very cool stock design. So this is, of course, a regular in-strike stock attachment point compared to the Spectrum, which again had a little weird proprietary stock. But the included stock is also an M4 buffer tube. And this is a really cool piece of, like, nerfing goodness. Like, this came out with Worker. They made something very similar to this, where it's literally just an in-strike stock attachment point, and you can put on any stock that is M4 compatible, and I personally think that's really cool. And the included stock is actually very cool as well. So you can, of course, adjust the length however you want, and once it's on, it is really solid. And it's got a really good length to it as well. Well, that is an external overview of the Dart Zone Thunderbolt. Now I will show you firing. Starting off with the included target golden darts. Tactical finger bang. Wow. Now time for some target practice. Editor, cue the music. There we go. Overall, the Thunderbolt is a massive beast to shoot. As you could tell from that firing demo, it's so much fun to fire, and it's a very, very smooth operator. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. This thing feels great to shoot. And going over the darts real quick, so these are the darts that came with it. These are the Target waffle head darts. I think they're called the Red Diamond Dart, but they're a very good dart design. They're a little bit lighter than the regular Dart Zone waffle head darts that you can get from Walmart, just because the head is slightly more condensed, and so it's a little bit lighter, and it also leads to a little bit better performance. So it's great that Dart Zone gives us two different options of waffle head darts, and I'm very thankful for that, because you know how I feel about the OG waffle head darts, but these are also not a bad option, especially if you're looking for a better color as well. Many people kind of differ between which one is easier to see in the grass, and they're both very good, but this isn't about the darts right now. This is about the blaster, because the blaster shoots very, very well, and this little footage up here will prove it. This was taken off the Instagram page of Dart Zone as they tested this blaster with a personal chronograph, and as you see, those numbers are really high. Go subscribe to Dart Zone on YouTube, but also make sure you follow their Instagram page, because they are a great company, and you always give me some of the highest recommendations, and you know that from me at this point. But that is all the objective information I can provide on the Thunderbolt. Now to my personal opinion. Overall, this is a very good blaster. I love this thing to death. It is a very fun blaster, and I love its ergonomics really well. It's very well fitting for an adult, and also a very good size for a kid. It's very fun to use. It's very smooth to use. And this is like a blaster that you could use like all day at a Nerf war and not get annoyed with. Now, to a quick comparison to the Spectrum, since these are essentially the same blaster, a bunch of their similarities are, of course, semi-automatic. And I would say their trigger pulls are about the same. I think the Thunderbolt's a little better, but this won't be a full versus. That will be another video for another day. But going over like the pluses that this has over this in my opinion is a better ergonomic profile. It's a little bigger, but it feels better in the hand for like long periods of use. This has a little bit of flaws to it in how you use it, and it feels a little more condensed, but they're both subguns. Of course, one's going to feel different from the other. Another difference for me is their magwells, and I already said this before. I love this version of the magwell better because it makes reloading that much more smooth. The Spectrum has the kind of magwell that the Nexus Pro had, where it's a little bit rougher to get a smooth reload in this thing. And that's not a bad thing. You can get used to it, and of course get a 3D printed flared magwell. But at that point, go buy a Thunderbolt if you want like a smoother release and like insertion. And then, of course, another notable difference for me is the stock attachment point. I love that they added this so that you could add whatever stock you want, and I do love the inclusion of the included stock. It's a very good length, but that was a complaint that a lot of people had about the Spectrum, because this is proprietary, and there's only one other stock that fits this, and that's the Villainator stock, and this stock was always too short. And it is cool that it's collapsible, but it feels like a Retaliator stock. But those are all the pluses, and like I said, these will go in a full versus video for another day. But now to the question, to buy or not to buy. If you are a stock class nerfer, this is a very great option, over 100 FPS, and it's a very smooth operator. It's very fun. Like I said, like you can peer around a corner really quick and just fully unload. And the benefits of having a blaster with a very smooth trigger and high rate of fire, you can just sit there and finger bang and just mag dump and mag dump and mag dump, and it's amazing. It's a very smooth blaster to use. It's friendly for both kids and adults, and it's overall just a very great product. Good job on this Dart Zone. Of course, I'm not getting paid to talk about this blaster at all. They haven't sent me a blaster yet, and they're not paying me. I love this blaster, and I'm pretty sure they know that by now because I love their products. But thank you so much for watching, new bros. Much love, blessed on, and stay tactical.